So I'd like to welcome to the stage Richard Outram is here from Mayors for Peace, working towards a nuclear-free world. And I know you'll know spoke about the importance of Manchester in this nuclear-free and being one of the first, or the first nuclear-free local authority.
Yes, indeed.
So I've keyed up all of your slides. You just need to go to the right.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. First of all, it's an absolute honour and a privilege to come and speak to you today at this very, very important event. I'm the Secretary of the UK and Ireland chapter of Mayors for Peace and also the Nuclear-Free Local Authorities Network in the UK and Ireland. I'm newly in post. You may have met my predecessor, Sean Morris, a very distinguished individual who was in the position for many, many years. So I've got big shoes to fill, and it's going to be a tough task, but I'm delighted to be here today. And I wanted to, first of all, follow on from some of the comments that the Lord Mayor has addressed you with, by telling you a bit about Manchester as a city of peace, and then look at the work of the Nuclear-Free Local Authorities Network and Mayors for Peace, and also look at how we can work with yourselves in support of your campaign for recognition and compensation. And I'm delighted to be able to do that this morning. So I thought I'd start with a slide with some other atomic weapons survivors, in this case some Hibakusha from Hiroshima that came to visit me and my colleagues in Oldham, which is where I live, so not very far away. And we had the great privilege of welcoming Hibakusha to us to plant some seeds. And these are very special seeds because they're actually seeds sourced from trees that actually survived the atomic bombing in Hiroshima, despite being very near the epicentre. And Mayors for Peace has an international campaign to encourage its cities around the world to take these seeds and to plant them as a sign of commitment to solidarity and to work for peace together. And Manchester's had some of these seeds, and we've had some of these seeds as well in Oldham and various places in the UK as well. The Lord Mayor's mentioned about Manchester being the world's first nuclear-free city, which is an amazing distinction that happened here. And you know, we've got a plaque outside the town hall. There's also one inside the town hall, which at the moment you won't be able to see because it's been refurbished, but I'm sure in the future there'll be that opportunity. And basically this is what that plaque in the town hall actually says. Basically it says, Manchester City Council firmly believes that the possession of nuclear weapons will not protect the people of this country against the horrors of nuclear war, and that civil defence against nuclear war is a dangerous sham. And the nuclear-free cities movement grew out of the fact that in the 1980s there was a realisation that there was no possible defence that would be effective against nuclear war. And ever since that time, Manchester has been a lead city in working for peace, both within the UK and Europe and around the world. So, we are the founding city of the Nuclear-Free Local Authorities Network. We're also, as the Lord Mayor has said, an executive and vice presidential city of Mayors for Peace that has over 8,000 member cities and towns around the world. There's about 100 in the UK and Ireland, and we're currently working to build a network. We have the distinction, both of those bodies has the distinction, like LABRATS International, of being a member partner of ICAN, the international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons, that in 2017 won the Nobel Peace Prize for its work in getting the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons adopted by 122 UN member states. We also have another distinction in Manchester because we also have the Mines Advisory Group head office, which actually was a lead member of the campaign to abolish landmines, anti-personnel landmines around the world. And that organisation actually won the Nobel Peace Prize as well in 1997. So we've actually got the distinction of being involved in two major disarmament campaigns, both of which led to the award of the Nobel Peace Prize. So, in terms of Manchester as a city of peace, just a few things really to draw your attention to. We have a Manchester City Centre Peace Trail, which can be downloaded. It needs to be updated, because I'm delighted to say there's lots and lots of other peace things that we need to put in there, like a statue of Gandhi, more things about the Peterloo Massacre, for instance, and the fight for social justice. There's lots of things in there that we need to update it with, but nonetheless it's still a very worthy thing to do. I know you've got an incredibly busy agenda, but if you ever get the chance, please do download the Peace Trail, and tomorrow you'll have the chance to see the actual Peace Garden, the new Peace Garden we've developed in the city. This is the Peace Garden on the left-hand side. We've also got a statue called Messenger of Peace, which we're hoping to locate in our Wickworth Park. On the top right, sadly, we've got the Glade of Light, which commemorates the 22 people tragically murdered in the arena bombing 5 years ago. And in the bottom right, we're looking to actually develop a memorial to international aid workers who died in the cause of humanitarian work in Manchester, and that will be a world's first when that happens next year. Nowhere else actually has such a memorial. So I wanted to just move on and tell you a little bit about nuclear-free local authorities. Basically, we're a network around the UK and also in Ireland, basically working to follow on from nuclear-free Manchester. We're opposed to civil nuclear power. We favour renewables. And the other thing is, and I'm sure many of you are aware, but there's actually a situation where we have, on a regular basis, Britain's nuclear warheads being transported along our roads and motorways to and from the nuclear base at Coalport and Faslane, down to Aldermaston and Bergfield, where they're maintained. And that's a real concern to many of our members. As I say, this grew out of the nuclear-free zones and cities campaign, and we are a supporter of ICANN, and we therefore support the treaty ban. Mayors for Peace is an international organisation based in Hiroshima. It was founded in 1982 at a UN conference by the then Mayor of Hiroshima. And essentially the focus of Mayors for Peace is more on campaigning against nuclear weapons and for a nuclear-free world. And the expression that they use is that we want no more Hiroshimas, no more Thatcher, no more A-bomb survivors, because we never see these sites again. And there's a target to try and achieve 10,000 cities. And that's something that we're working on at the moment. We're obviously not going to get 10,000, but if we can get a few more in our network, we will make a contribution in the UK and Ireland. And the other thing to say is we've also set up a European chapter. So there's a possibility then of meeting up with test veterans from France and Russia through Mayors for Peace and do some work with them. So a couple of sites really of our Lord Mayor being engaged at various points with the ICANN pledge and meeting the Mayor of Hiroshima who we've greeted in our city. This is the actual memorial. I'm sure some of you have already seen this and maybe were at the event itself. But there's an opportunity tomorrow to visit this memorial and to also see the Peace Garden. And the Lord Mayor is actually in that picture on the right hand side, actually doing the speech at the time. I deliberately picked that to show that he was there. So the other thing I wanted to mention, which is actually probably the most important thing really, is how can we, as Mayors for Peace, as the Nuclear-Free Local Authorities Network, work with you. And actually before this event, by chance, I actually contacted Alan and he said, oh, we're having this amazing event in Manchester, and we're so glad you contacted us, because I was thinking, yeah, we really must do some work with nuclear test veterans. Because the members that we have are councillors, they're politicians, and they're linked in with national politicians. So it's only appropriate that we take this campaign up, particularly as we're around peace and we're against nuclear weapons. So the kinds of things I was going to suggest we look at, I've already mentioned this to others, we have Mayors for Peace webinars or seminars that we can get in person. And you know, it'd be a great honour if Alan could come along and talk to one of our future events. We also have a newsletter that's widely circulated. The other thing I'd like to look at is actually developing a kind of model resolution that we can roll out to our councils in support of your campaign, and also to press the UK government to sign the nuclear ban treaty. And the other issue is obviously engaging locally with test veterans in events and also in our armed forces governance. So I was thinking that, you know, yesterday really that we need to address that to see whether they are actually addressing the needs that you have as a campaign. And also there's the UN Day on Nuclear Testing on the 29th of August each year, which I don't think there's any real events go on in the UK, but that's something we can look to do, and obviously around the anniversary day. I've mentioned before around the links with French and Russian cities through that European chapter. That's something again we can look to do. And the final thing really is around memorials. I know a number of nuclear-free local authorities, towns and cities do have memorials. I'm sure we could look for more to be created, and that's something we can press for. So that's all I wanted to say. But, my contact details are there, but basically this picture, the reason I put it in is the first picture, if you recall, were the seeds being planted. And this is actually a sapling that was grown from one of those seeds that I had the great delight of taking to one of our schools in Oldham and planting. And this particular school is a school that signed something called a Pledge to Peace. And basically they accepted that tree, and the Mayor of Oldham was there to plant that with me. So it just shows, you know, we've gone through the whole journey there, 4 years initially planting the seeds and then finally getting the saplings into the earth. So I'll leave it there. Once more, thank you so much for inviting me today. I'm looking forward to hearing the testimonies. I'm sure it'll be very moving, and I'm also speaking with you later on individually. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. So you can see what we're doing. You can see the picture emerging from what we're doing today. Yeah, campaigning, yeah, education, working with the nuclear local authorities, Mayors for Peace, ICANN. The reach goes from just being here to the whole world. The reach becomes massive. And you've got supporters. Yeah, the test veterans and their families that are sitting here today, and the ones that are listening online, you've got supporters. We have people backing us now. We have people saying, no, this is wrong. And it is wrong. You're not alone. And I know, I've spoken to John quite a lot, you know, for 40, 50 years. He felt he was alone, banging his head against a brick wall. Well, we're not. We're here. Okay? Descendants are here. There's a lot of descendants here as well that are taking on the fight. So we are going to keep going. We won't stop. We've lost too many veterans already. And by using organisations such as Mayors for Peace, we can keep going.